This week on Video Game Tango, we've got more horrifically depressing news out of Activision Blizzard, and we briefly talk about Norco. Then after the break, we talk about the upcoming games Haunted Chocolatier, Bear and Breakfast, and Mail Time. Josh has some hot takes on Rockstar's Super Ultra Games as a Service Extra Fantastic 5-Star Plus Shark Card Jamboree, and then it's all about the first episode of Paramount Plus's new TV show, Halo.
Speaking of which, I'm Nick, and although Halo is a high-altitude franchise, its low opening was even lower than my opinion.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I can double as a puppet, but it's weird to work the mouth.
Hi, I'm Sierra, also known as Russ post-transition, and I approve of this message.
My name is Andy. Welcome, Sierra. Welcome, everybody, to Video Game Tango. And Blizzard is back at it again. We've got a little to follow up, and we've got some new news coming from Activision Blizzard. None of it's exciting. I know my voice says otherwise. It's all fucking terrible. And everybody at Activision Blizzard should be ashamed, at least those that have taken part in it. So let's talk about Activision Blizzard a bit. Most recently, this happened just yesterday. A judge approved an $18 million settlement between Activision Blizzard and the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, otherwise known as the EEOC.
Yuck.
That resolves the federal sexual assault lawsuit faced by Activision Blizzard. So this is one of many lawsuits. This happens to be on the federal level. The one we've been talking about mostly has been by the California DFEH, Department of Fair Employment and Housing in California. That's the big one. But this is the federal level. So this is the feds coming after them. So
how long does it take Blizzard to make $18 million?
So that was discussed earlier. It takes a few hours for them to generate $18 million.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah.
Must be rough.
Cool beans that they can pay a few hours of restitution for someone's, many people's lives being forever altered. That's fun.
Preach.
So,
Yay.
the U.S. District Judge Dale Fisher said during the virtual Zoom hearing on the settlement that she couldn't stop anyone from filing appeals, but her intent was to sign the agreement. She continues, "I'm going to sign the consent decree, which will close the case." She said that to the DFEH representative on the call, who initiated the federal suit. It says you've already filed a motion. Your request is untimely. Talk to the Ninth Circuit about additional filings.
I don't know enough about bird law to have an opinion on that.
So effectively, the question is like on an individual suit basis for individual claims, can they be included in the suit? The answer is no. The case has been now closed and settled, and no additional filings can come from this initial filing.
Okay.
So there will be no more interaction between Activision Blizzard and the EEOC on this particular subject. So as far as sexual harassment and discrimination, the Fed is done. So $18 million. The most unfortunate side of this particular filing and settlement is that the $18 million is to be distributed amongst those that join the class action. However, if they do join this class action, they are ineligible to join in the DFEH filing.
Welcome to America.
Meaning that
Fuck you.
if they make any money from this settlement, they cannot make additional money from the DFEH settlement.
No.
So, essentially, if they're seeking, especially those that quit the company because of sexual harassment, they might be looking for a bit of a payout especially to make up for lost income.
Yeah.
If they decide to go with this one, they're only going to get that section of the pie. They're ineligible to get any more money from any other suits.
That doesn't, no.
They're forcing them to paper hand.
Yeah, essentially. Or they can take a bet and wait for the settlement for the DFEH suit to happen. But that is ongoing and still in the investigation phase.
How about they get a piece of all the things that are due?
Right. You'd think so. But that's not how our judicial system works, unfortunately. No. And Activision Blizzard is definitely getting the better end of this fucking deal. So
shocking.
I know. The big guy wins again. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like, unless the DFEH suit turns into a multi-billion-dollar settlement, I don't see much happening honestly, in the form of reprimand for Activision Blizzard. This is kind of the beginnings of their punishment, and it's really light-handed.
It's not.
Well,
yeah.
and like the thing is
punishment.
they've already been sold to
Slap on the
Microsoft.
wrist.
Like, so like everyone's already getting their money. Like
Yeah.
it's already going to happen. Like, no,
Living in
no.
America.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't have any protections as an individual. It is what it is.
Well,
More. Yeah, because we're gonna move on. There's a lot to talk about. There is a ton. So that is effectively all there is to be said about that suit is $18 million settlement.
We live in a society.
We live in a society.
It's not enough, and it's incredibly constrictive, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next story, I guess. Yay.
So a new sexual harassment suit has been filed against Activision Blizzard by a Jane Doe. Jane Doe alleges more charges of sexual harassment, including being subjected to the frat boy culture, cube crawls, uninvited touching and groping, rampant alcohol use in the workplace, and a company culture and HR team that are not responsive or receptive to the complaints made by her and her fellow female coworkers about these issues. The filing comes complete with time-stamped events. I've got some, just a few examples of it. We're going to try and move on through
I believe
this as
there's
quickly
over
as possible, but
700.
There are over 700, and most of them time-stamped. Now, some of them are follow-up to the previous statement. So there aren't necessarily 700 of them, but there are 700 individual line items in this particular suit. So let's start at the beginning. On October 23rd, 2017, Ms. Doe commenced work at Activision Blizzard as a senior administrative assistant to support defendant Skorupa and senior director Eric Koh in Activision Blizzard's IT department. Ms. Doe reported to defendant Patel, an executive administrative assistant. She immediately began to experience harassment and gender discrimination, including but not limited to the incidents below. On Ms. Doe's very first day, defendant Skorupa, Mr. Koh, defendant Patel, and defendant Ingalls, and others from Activision Blizzard leadership took Ms. Doe out for an initiation lunch at a restaurant.
Straight out the gate?
Straight out the gate. This is first day. This is initiation. During this lunch, leadership pressured Ms. Doe to drink many shots of tequila, and at this lunch, defendant Skorupa forced his hand on Ms. Doe's lap. After lunch, they all headed to another place for more drinks, and leadership pressured Ms. Doe to drink even more. On the car ride back to the office, Activision Blizzard leadership told Ms. Doe that as part of the initiation, she needed to share an embarrassing secret to everyone. She complied, and it made her feel extremely uncomfortable.
Shocking.
Who does that?
Right. I mean, especially in a multi-billion-dollar company, and especially leadership in a multi-billion-dollar company.
Fear, no fear at all.
There isn't. Yeah. That's kind of what we can take from that.
That's day one.
Let's hear about day two.
Jeez.
On Ms. Doe's second day of work, defendant Patel sent Ms. Doe and a prospective Activision Blizzard employee an email with the comment about hookers and blow.
Fun.
Activision Blizzard purchased alcohol for its employees to drink during work hours, offering it nearly everywhere, including kegs of beer throughout the offices and on campus. In this alcohol-sodden work environment, sexual harassment flourished. Activision Blizzard often pressured Ms. Doe and others to participate in office cube crawls, where women would be subjected to sexual comments and groped. So we know about the cube crawls and the frat bro culture. But this is a personal account here. This isn't hearsay, and this is in federal filings. This is also on the back of the DFEH investigation, where they've already discovered this information. This is common knowledge amongst the employees at Activision Blizzard.
We live in such a fucking weird day and time where, like, everyone knows that this stuff is truthful and it happens. And it happened. And we have to go to such extreme lengths to get what little justice out of it that we can. And then we get shit like a $19 million settlement. You know, it's like
something
you can't even call that justice, though.
No.
Like,
something that takes them less than a full day of profits to pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they need to do is get those people in power to go stand out in a public square and live stream this of them reading what you just read.
Yeah.
In its entirety. I want them out there like tarred and feathered, having to read that out loud.
Here's the thing.
Like, shame is the only thing that's going to work against these people.
Despite the evidence, they're still saying this doesn't happen as far as leadership
can get away with it.
Right.
So they say, hey, prove it.
Yeah.
You know, bring notes. Where's your documentation? Bring the documentation. Jane Doe has the documentation.
Yeah, but she doesn't have their lawyers.
A lot of documentation. And it's just like right after an $18 million suit. It's icky. It's gross. I don't like it. It makes me feel bad. I don't like any of it, you know?
Yeah. But it's important to talk about it and give these people voices because
and stop
fighting an uphill
playing
battle.
Blizzard
100%.
Activision games. Just stop buying their products, stop playing their games until this gets figured out. They need to be persona non grata at any gaming event, at any game awards. When you're opening your wallet, it's not for Activision Blizzard.
I don't even want you eating potatoes au gratin.
Yeah,
like that's too close.
It's
bad pussy au gratin.
No, it's it's gross.
So, real quick, we'll read another one of the examples and let's play a little bit of devil's advocate, okay?
I don't want to.
I know, but we're going to. Early in Miss Doe's career at Activision Blizzard, defendant Skoropa and defendant Ingalls repeatedly pressured her to stay late in defendant Ingalls' office to play a game called Jackbox, which required each individual to suggest creative answers to various questions. All the men present ensured their answers were mostly sexual. At the start of one of the games, defendant Skoropa and defendant Ingalls told Miss Doe, "Let's see how well you'll fit in the group." Miss Doe understood that they were testing her to see if she could be as sexually crude as them.
Testing.
Now, Jackbox is one of those games that we have played on stream and gets extremely sexually suggestive. The difference here is you have to know your audience. And probably new workplace members, it's not the right audience. No. It's probably a good idea to not do this in the workplace. It's hard to say that, right? Because eventually we'd like to be a company that hosts kind of cool Jackbox nights. On our stream,
fun,
right? And in a different environment where people are welcomed and not pressured.
I mean,
right?
I don't feel like So there's a difference between fucking writing a dick joke on your phone about a drawing when everyone else is doing it, and you're having fun
compared to being on the clock with a brand new employee who's terrified of losing her new job.
It's a crass attitude kind of an area where it's fun and it's free.
Here's what it is. A thing that has happened since the dawn of time and will never stop until we evolve to become robots is men abusing the power dynamic that they have over women in these cases, right? Oh, I'm above you. I'm going to see how far I can push this fucking line, right? It's a tale as old as fucking time. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah. I don't know, so the Jackbox games thing to me doesn't
if it's amongst friends,
amongst friends, sure.
Then an after work Jackbox event is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And but this is her first or second day.
Right.
You've already forced her to drink on the job to make her feel accepted. You've already forced her to reveal. When they say an embarrassing secret, they mean something sexual. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They've already, and again, these are the word forced, coerced. That's
pressured. She's feeling pressured to
and that's
fit in.
That's where I take a real issue with. If in the context of a Jackbox game, things get a little crass, you can be like, I didn't like that. That was a little crass. It was too much for me. Whatever. But this is all work stuff where there are rules and regulations and everyone needs to be treated with respect.
The idea of playing Jackbox ever in a work environment is so foreign to me. The idea of playing Jackbox, even knowing that everybody here is going to keep it 100% PG, that is so antithetical to how Jackbox works.
So
that'd be like playing Twister, in a child's hospital ward.
So
like, it's just weird.
Put yourself in these people in these higher ups positions. Don't be them, okay? But insert yourself here in these positions. Now, say all of us are working at Activision Blizzard,
and we're senior management.
We're senior management, okay? So we're in their positions. It's one thing to invite people that you've been working alongside with and you understand who they are, to invite them to play Jackbox, especially letting them know, like, hey, it gets a little crass sometimes, but this is an after work activity.
Hey,
it might be on company property, but this is outside of work hours. You feel no obligation.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit adult sometimes, and but like we're loosey goosey and that kind of thing.
Dude,
that's still borderline, right? It's still happening on company property. The company is still liable for the goings on at the company property. But as long as you know your audience and you're not pressuring people, it's fine.
Yeah, like that's where the thing comes in. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about making dick jokes. I think it's being sexually assaulted.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like it's a whole part of the environment. Like, sure, if you take the Jackbox is part of a greater context of the situation, where it's like, oh yeah, of course it's everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if it's an after work mixer and it's like, hey man, there's Jackbox and we got fucking Rock Band and there's gonna be some beers, we're Activision Blizzard, we got all the fucking toys.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it in our fucking thing. It's gonna be awesome. There's no reason anyone needs to get drugged.
We're gonna have LAN parties because this is a game development company.
There's
and
no
we'll have
reason
great
anyone
computers.
needs to be drugged.
Yeah.
There's no reason anyone needs to be groped, and there's no reason anyone needs to feel pressured to drink if they don't want to drink. Yeah. I don't like that's.
And it's about consent, and what I think Gear had phrases it perfectly is voluntary.
Absolutely,
voluntary engagement.
Chat's 100% on it right now.
There's something that I want to say that's tangentially related to this, and it's like, if I had 10 messages to get to the whole world, this would be one of them. I Googled to make sure. Martin Luther King Jr. brought up the idea of the white moderate, and it's the idea back then, 60 years ago or whatever, that the problem wasn't the fervent racists fighting against black rights and whatnot. It was the white moderate, the fence sitter,
doing nothing,
who went with the status quo for all the reasons that people go with the status quo. And I'm thinking about, okay, so they bring a new secretary female into Jackbox, and there's a bunch of sexual harassment stuff. It kind of breaks down into three groups. You've got the men who are actively doing this, and they're aware of what they're doing, and they're the instigators. And then you've got the people who are aware that, like, okay, we're putting this new chick in this passive position, but, like, I'm okay with it because it's a thing. And then you've got what is likely the majority of the people playing the game who are like, I'm slightly uncomfortable with this, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm with the senior executives of Blizzard. Those are the quote unquote white moderates. Race aside, just the idea of a moderate. Like they go with the flow so they don't rock the boat. Mm-hmm. Those are the problems in this scenario.
Yeah, 100%.
And it takes so much fucking courage for like a single woman to come out and like list out all these things that happen, because we know, everyone wants the underdog to win. Oh yeah, she's going to get her comeuppance and all these things are going to happen. More than likely, this is not going to be great for her. I hate to be serious about it, but like she's not going to get what she deserves out of this. Like if I had to put money down on it.
You can't put a monetary thing on that either, though.
No, I mean, like what is her goal of getting out of this, and what are the chances of getting it? It's probably low because this company has so much money and so many lawyers. But if we learned anything from this, it's like when you see this kind of stuff happen, you got to speak up. Yeah. Don't be a moderate. Tell someone. Get the shame out there. Make it public, because shame works. Right, you got to be like, hey, I'm just going to voice right now, I'm not comfortable with what's going on right now, and you can make a difference, even if it's a small one.
Yeah, and you don't have to ostracize. Yeah. You don't have to criticize. Yeah. You can yourself express that you don't feel comfortable, and a good management team will then reevaluate how appropriate what is the goings on of the workplace are. Right. Yeah. That's what a good HR manager would do, or a good manager. Right. Yeah. Well, that's what a good one would do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's This workplace attitude is totally inexcusable, right? Pressuring your coworkers into doing after work activities is just not okay. Don't guilt them.
Yeah. Especially new ones.
Well,
new
like,
employees are
brand new
so,
employees.
Yeah,
I've been a
day
new
two.
employee. You're so terrified. You're like, I got to make a good impression. You know?
My workplace. I mean, you worked there for a minute, so you know it's a pretty lax and intimate work environment.
Yeah.
I regularly hang out with my employees. Like every Friday, my friend has a bonfire out at her house, and like I've gone out there, I've drank, we've had a good time, and that's it. Like we were friends. We've become friends. We've related to each other, and we had a good time. Alcohol was involved.
And strangely, everybody walked out of there ungroped and comfortable.
untraumatized.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe it's because
it's weird how people can have fun without terrorizing each other
or something, and that's the issue.
Well, that's what I mean by the
rich
fear
people got
thing. Is
problems.
it's like there's absolutely no fear. They have nothing to worry about, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
They know that they don't have to be accountable at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. So this is going to take us 3 minutes to pay off. Yeah. Fuck it. We'll do what we want.
Yep.
So let's move on to some more depressing Activision Blizzard news.
We can do a highlight for a minute. Let's just rock that shit back.
No, not yet. We're going to bring it down into the absolute
get all the sad out of the way.
We're going to bring it down to the crevasse.
It gets worse from here.
It does. So initially, this story sounds awesome. Maybe Activision Blizzard is seeing the error of their ways. So the Game Developers Conference happened recently, and they have a committee called. Excuse me for just a minute. I want to make sure I'm quoting this correctly.
They
Why can't I
summoned
find
Godzilla.
Gojira?
I literally just had this in my notes. It's the WIGI, Women in Games. Oh my God, I've gone full dumb.
You never go full dumb.
I go dumb in my back.
Women in Games International. Sorry, I just want to make sure I have it right.
Gotcha.
So they sponsored Women in Games International.
Who did?
Activision Blizzard.
Okay.
So you're thinking, okay,
PR stunt.
PR stunt for sure, but as long as the impact is positive, I don't care if it's a PR
At the
stunt.
end of the day, yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as the impact is positive, give them the good PR. That's fine. Doing good things should net you good results. Okay, even if it's coming from bad people, right? So,
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't
That's
know.
a whole side tangent. Let's get out of the bad.
I understand. I understand. There's a lot, but we are talking.
We'll get out of the weeds.
We are talking positive end results, right? That's the best we can hope for in this scenario.
Point, yes.
Yeah. However, in Activision Blizzard fashion, they hosted it at a nightclub during GDC.
A nightclub.
So the event is quoted as being full of creeps.
Off to a great start.
It's just slathered
So-
weirdos.
Activision Blizzard promised to terminate those who enabled abuse and protect marginalized groups. It seems Activision Blizzard needed to score some positive points in the news cycle by sponsoring Women in Games International at a nightclub. Seems to have backfired, as one attendee described it, as a men's playing ground. And another says that some men in attendance were predatory.
Did you say that they promised to terminate the people?
They sure did.
The high ups?
I read.
They sure did.
I read that too. It was like a predatory hunting ground.
We'll get there.
Oh my!
They gave the men bows and arrows.
Beth Banky
That would have
from
been kinder.
Probably.
Beth Banky from Twitter can be quoted. She's upset about some stuff that happened last night at the Women in Games International event, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it was sponsored by Activision Blizzard. There were several sketch inappropriate men. This is why I think that WIGI, Women in Games International, events should be women only.
It's a fantastic
WIGI events
acronym.
are professional women's working events, not men's preying grounds to hit on women, touch them, etc. It's important to have a safe space for women to network that's women only. I don't mind telling someone to fuck off. I told a man last night that it wasn't okay to touch me. But when you're younger or earlier in the industry, that can be challenging, overwhelming, or scary. The Twitter thread continued for quite a bit after that. Another attendee, Yavira Corder, shared that several women were assaulted at the party. Another attendee, Jessica Gonzalez, who once worked for Activision Blizzard, said it was shocking that they even held something like that. She continues.
At a nightclub.
Not only didn't they read the room, they straight up set up a formula for predatory men to prey on aspiring and established women devs.
I'm trying to picture, like, this is a charity event for Wiggy, and they're using a dance floor.
Yeah, in a nightclub.
Like, this is like...
How do we celebrate women?
It's Always Sunny.
We invite a bunch of men and get them drunk.
Yes.
Yeah, so they can watch us on a dance floor.
Yeah. Yavera Quarter continues. I don't see anyone talking about it on Twitter, but at the Activision Blizzard sponsored Wiggy GDC party, several women were assaulted. I don't have concrete details on the assault or the extent of the harm and have not received consent to share details yet. She goes on to state in another tweet, as this changes, I will update accordingly. It is reasonable to demand accountability from Wiggy on why this event was allowed to take place at a nightclub. So we will certainly follow up on this if there is any more information, especially specific information shared with us. And as we find out more, we'll follow up on that. That, fortunately, I think... Nope, it doesn't end the Activision Blizzard news. I lied.
One more.
We're 0 for 3.
We got one more.
Here we go.
We got one more. Let's power
still
through
listening.
this.
10 points to
Let's
fucking
power
Gryffindor.
through this, because once we're done with this, we can talk about Halo.
Oh, no.
Will the torture ever end for Nick?
It will not.
And I have to pee. Okay,
I also
continue.
have to pee.
So, of course you do. You drank too much.
There are 2 bathrooms.
Too much liquid, not, alcohol. Blizzard employee relays the horrors of working at the developer. So... Her name is Christine. She got together with her lawyer and staged a boycott out in front of Activision Blizzard and repeatedly stated what she had experienced over a megaphone.
Good for her.
Good for her. That
takes
extremely brave.
I was going to say, it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And
That's valiant.
I want to go back to the Jane Doe suit as well. A lot of courage. Despite being listed as a Jane Doe in the filing, I am sure that the higher-ups at Activision Blizzard know who this is and could absolutely 100% tarnish her reputation forever to the rest of the gaming industry for going public with this. But she's still doing it. So, I mean, kudos. Like, hats off to you.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Christine. She says, my name is Christine. I work at Blizzard, a division of Activision, for 4 years. I still work here. I didn't want to have to be up here doing this, but we need to make major changes at Activision Blizzard. Working at Blizzard was my dream job, as it is with almost everybody that's ever worked at Activision Blizzard.
It's Blizzard. It's Activision.
Exactly.
They're massive.
When I first heard about all the talented people working at Blizzard, I knew that was somewhere that I wanted to work and somewhere I could excel in my career. I was so excited to be part of the community that seemed so much to care about their employees. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. Christine made these statements outside Blizzard Irvine headquarters last Wednesday evening. That's last week as of the recording. She alleges fellow employees frequently made unwanted comments about her body. Not only that, but was also subjected to the oft-heard about cube crawls, alcohol-fueled parties, and was once invited to have casual sex with a supervisor.
Oh, wow.
Sex.
Fun.
Word around the office is you got a fat cock.
Oh, yeah. No, if
Oils?
Dude,
Rubbing?
If we wanted to have a 4-hour episode, I could go back to that Jane Doe filing and we can talk about how her supervisors talked about having menage a trois and specifying that they swing with their partners and that they'd love to have them in their circles.
Is this,
and just literally inviting Jane Doe for casual sex regularly.
just a question. All of us have had a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of talk happens in certain select groups of employees within your job. Like you get to know a few
absolutely.
people at
Sure.
a job, and then you're essentially like friends.
Yeah, dick jokes and
like
fart
yeah,
jokes.
you'll
and-
or if you work in a kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of kitchen
well,
stuff. If
kitchens
you
are just a toxic work environment.
yeah,
Let's be
absolutely.
real here.
Absolutely.
But like the idea, I'm trying to picture the life path someone takes to become a higher up at a company, where they just like fully aware of the power dynamic, or fully unaware, just like, hey, you want to fuck later? Like now that you're a new employee and you can't really say no, like wow, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like I couldn't ever picture myself doing that.
Yeah.
Like
I never
it
experienced anything that extreme, but I myself, working a job that someone here now works, was told I would get a raise for a new position, but there was a requirement. The requirement was I was to wear a very specific uniform. Mind you, the uniform requirements was a pencil skirt and high heels to be a floor supervisor.
Yeah, you got to have that specific skirt.
Absolutely.
So
it was a caveat so that I could get the raise.
So I need you to know that that's never been a requirement. So whoever that supervisor was,
it was not a requirement. I know that, but I'm saying that they offered that to me.
No, I know. I'm calling this person out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not excusing any kind of this behavior. I'm calling them out. That's never been a requirement for that position, and what they asked of you was disgusting and false. Yeah.
I almost wanted to quote Dwight, like, we need another plague. Right? But then we just had one. And
we kind of did.
It didn't solve anything.
It maybe made things worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that no one's listening anymore, can we talk about good news?
We can.
Okay. Right.
Absolutely. No. Well, we still got a little bit of time before break.
He said no.
I'm going to have to pee before then.
So just two things that, you know, like you have my curiosity, but now you have my attention or whatever. Things that have piqued my curiosity. Two things. There is a game coming out, Norco, Norco. It's a vaguely described as a point-and-click adventure, which seems to be making some kind of comeback.
Yeah, it seems like in a big way.
It's a bizarre game. It's described as in the Southern Gothic genre, so Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, Lovecraft Country, that kind of like dark humor mixed with the banal, mixed with the bizarre and the twisted. It's set in, I think it was Louisiana, but it looks really neat. It's got this Simon the Stallhog looking art to it. It's pixel art.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that was one where like my hackles tittered. I think I might see if I can find a way to play that one. Another one I closed. Did I close it? I did close it. The people who made Medieval Dynasty, which was kind of a fair to middling first-person colony sim game.
Fair to Midland, also a great band.
Fair to MIDDLIN apostrophe, as in middling.
I was saying
Fair to Midland. My stepdad used to say that all the days.
Yeah.
It's like a C plus B minus game. They're making a historical Japanese one, Sengoku Dynasty. The only thing that's out that I could find was a cinematic trailer and a bunch of PR speak, so I don't know how it looks, but it's like a first-person, highly historically accurate Japanese civilization building game, which is a weird conflux there.
It's a weird soup.
Yeah, it's a weird soup.
It's a soup.
And because it's a weird soup, it has my hackles tittered. So
good soup.
What does it take to titter your hackles, Nick?
Weird genre mashups.
Gotcha.
And
just mashing it.
Just got to mash them.
Got to make soup and mash it.
Yeah.
If you tell me you're taking like Northern African trade routes and combining them with, I don't know, Siamese heavy industry music.
Sure.
My hackles are tittered.
Titter them hacks. Hacks and titters.
So let's mash some genres real quick.
I can only get so erect.
Let's take battle royales with base building.
Oh, you mean Bastion Darkness?
No, I was talking about Fortnite.
Bastion Darkness. I was trying to think of another word for night. Nocturne. Bastion.
Gotcha. Nocturne Bastion. I want to bring up two more topics real quick before we go to break. They mash.
I have games to talk about.
Absolutely, we're gonna get to those for sure.
Don't tell me how to math.
We're gonna do another whole half.
Ooh, a whole half.
A whole half. Half portion.
Half portion.
Half portion.
So we've talked about Asmongold and OTK, One True King, his organization that he's made.
Zero Turn Knockout.
Yeah, that's the one. So Asmongold decided that he wasn't seeing enough indie games and they weren't getting enough exposure from anywhere.
Okay.
God bless him. He's correct.
So he's decided he's going to make the OTK Games Expo, stating he will be showing off 30 different games across many genres from independent developers. I have a video for us to watch. Fortunately, audio listeners, it's not a video that you have to watch. It's mostly just important audio. Let's
shows many times live reacting to them alongside with you, giving our opinions, our criticism, our comments, and our feedback, and talking about what we liked and what we didn't like. And I thought to myself, Well, I thought the same thing that I thought whenever I made this org. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. And that's because on June 8th, I am doing on my channel, twitch.tv/Asmongold, the first ever OTK Games Expo. We are going to be premiering 30 different games across a dozen different genres, and this is not going to be just a showcase of these games. You all are going to be involved as well, because we are putting up $50,000 of developmental prizes to help make these games a reality that are going to be chosen by you for which games that you guys like the best. We want to put a spotlight on a lot of these underrepresented developers and these people that might not have the same opportunities and the same avenues that the bigger developers and the bigger companies have. So we're going to put this out there. We're going to give those people a chance to get their game out there and really have their dream come true. I am really excited about this. To be honest with you, I can't even believe it's happening. And I am just so hyped for this. I think it's going to be super, super fun. Again, guys, it's going to be on June 8th on my channel. And for anybody who's looking to submit their game, you guys can submit them at this link right below here. And the submission deadline is going to be on May 4th.
So he goes to talk about where you can find it out. Twitch.tv/Asmongold, or look up OTK Games Expo.
Man, that sounds like a lot of fun. Dude, I'm pretty hyped for that, honestly.
Me too.
Hyped.
I'm becoming more and more enamored with Asmongold. He's somebody that I've been watching for a long time, mostly because he was the biggest WoW streamer for a long time. But since he created OTK with a few other fellow streamers who I'll get to in a second, which as a Twitch organization, what they do is they're trying to boost everybody's content that's within the organization and get them in touch with advertisers. So he's done cool things like getting them sponsored by Game Fuel by Mountain Dew. Like,
sick.
They've made some real progress in getting these middle of the road streamers up into the higher echelon.
Mid-tier.
Essentially, like there are requirements. You have to have enough viewers, right? Because
for sure.
Right. The sponsors are going to want a minimum level of viewership, but not only is he helping other streamers and getting money into creators' pockets, but he's also doing a lot for charitable organizations. So the OTK network, and Asmongold specifically in this case, raised a total of $391,000 for the CARES organization in a single 9-hour stream.
Wow.
Holy shit.
So CARES is a cooperative for assistance and relief everywhere, which is known to have been heavily involved in helping the people of Ukraine since the invasion of Russia. The 9-hour stream in which Asmongold played Elden Ring and Lost Ark exceeded targets and expectations set by Asmongold. Asmongold at the end of his stream joked, "I did not expect that we were going to get anywhere near this. We took all this money together. I could almost get my weapon to +20 in Lost Ark, but unfortunately it's going to go to a good cause. All this money that we have raised today is going towards CARE, so they can allocate those resources to people in need in Ukraine. Thank you all so much. Dude. Thank you everybody for doing this and making it possible."
What a dude.
So he does lead the organization, but we also have some other big givers. Other OTK members ran charity streams for CARE during this time. Nick NMP LOL Paulum raised $130,000 in a charity stream with the help of his girlfriend Milena and Emaru. Nice. Emaru also being a member of OTK, another fellow streamer. This isn't the first time a massive amount of charity funds has been raised by OTK either. They've held other charity streams, including one for Games for Love. Their first charity stream for Games for Love brought in over $250,000 by opening Pokemon card packs in search of rare Pokemon. They have since done more charity streams for Games for Love, raising nearly $1.2 million in total.
Holy shit. Damn. Bravo.
These guys are on a roll. And Asmongold does regular charity streams. He does charity streams for charities that he thinks, and he personally seeks them out. And makes these connections to make sure the money is being allocated in a way that he sees fit. So as long as you can trust Asmongold in his charities of choice, and of course, look into them yourself.
Yeah.
Nick is, yes, there are a lot of funny OTK memes. Nick is looking at some of them currently.
This is on their Wikipedia.
It is. No, so these guys are funny. That's the main
They've
thing.
Essentially,
They get it.
They just made a company, them and a bunch of streamers. I see Jay Schlatt on there.
Well, and they're all friends.
Yeah, and they're essentially like, let's just make a company for us to produce our media and whatnot.
Yeah.
Great idea. A million people have done it, right?
Yeah.
That's Rooster Teeth. That's
Yeah.
this, that's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see them actually doing some good too, other than just making money and
Yes, no, it just goes to show
now,
that when
these
you're
guys are filthy rich. But,
oh yeah, for
but
sure.
they do a lot of good.
Yeah.
when you're a gamer, the button you need to mash the hardest is your heart.
That's right.
I just think we should take Will Smith's Oscar and give it to this guy because he seems a lot more deserving.
Asmongold is a divisive figure. He's a polarizing figure. He's had some interesting takes. He has no qualms about sharing his personal views on pretty much any topic. His politics may not be like, I do not share my views in politics in a lot of the ways he does. Others I do. Others we have very similar takes in politics, but we're different people.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd have to say my only exposure to him is through Twitch streaming. But the guy seems pretty legit and maybe one of the more genuine people on Twitch. Guy doesn't seem to put on airs. I mean, to the point where like his bedroom is fucking disgusting and he revels in it.
Hell yeah.
He talks about
gamer.
he is
that G Fuel.
He is your quintessential gamer. He doesn't shower.
Ew.
Now, I mean, he does.
Yeah,
No.
but
But not often.
You can't say you.
Listen, there's the other thing is like he's got some great memes that are really funny. Also, like every time he goes and takes a piss, when he comes back, people assume that because he was too fast, he didn't wash his hands. When he gets back in his chair, he's the chat spams, wash your hands. Did you wash your hands? Clean hands. He says, why would I wash my hands? I got a clean dick.
Hey.
Love it.
I'm gonna start a charity stream for gamers learning how to take a shower.
Well, the funny thing is one of the last times he did a charity stream, the $1 million goal, I believe it was to take a shower. And
Finally,
they hit
his
it.
yearly shower.
They not only did they hit it, he took a shower on stream. Now he didn't get naked for the shower, unfortunately, but because everybody wants to see Asmon naked.
we want to see that gold, baby.
I wanted to end the first half on a good note. It seems like people in the Twitchosphere are doing some cool stuff, and I think it deserves recognition.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Twitch.
Twitch.
Give him the
I thought
Oscar.
you said Twitter for some reason.
No, not the
got really
Twitchosphere.
confused.
The Twitchosphere.
That's always awful.
What is anybody have anything they'd like to talk about in the first half?
Not quickly.
Okay. Well, then maybe let's go to break.
Sounds
and
good.
then when we come back from break, we'll get into Halo and other gaming news.
Yeah.
Break.
All right, we will be right back.
BR Bizzle. Hey, everybody. My name is Sierra, also known as Russ Mid-Transition. You can see by the glorious, shaved, beautiful
it's been a
Come a
underneath.
long way.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since I've seen Russ without a beard. I didn't know that his breasts
it's
would be
more
so
than a
prominent.
decade.
It's it's
a long
it's a lot of work. I really want to lean into who I truly am. So I figure for the next 9 months, I'm going to embrace it, and here we are. But while we're on that, I figure we talk about some really cutesy games because that's what I'm into now is the cutesy things. Mm-hmm. So the people that made Stardew Valley are coming up with a new release. It's called Hunted Chocolatier. So essentially, instead of the farming, hunting, and gathering and all the things that you do in the Stardew, you'll be gathering things to make your chocolates.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic idea.
I'm super into it.
Super
Honestly,
cute.
I heard the blood flow into Andy's penis from over here. Anytime someone mentions Stardew Valley, it's like,
Okay, listen, I only have like 700 hours in Stardew, okay?
I mean,
It's no DayZ, but I do love Stardew.
it's a perfect, I want to veg on the couch and do some shit without doing shit game.
Personally, I think you can get rid of all the qualifiers, and I say it is a perfect game.
It is, I love it. It is good.
I have no gripes, no qualms about Stardew Valley. I enjoy every second of it, every time I play it. It's one of my absolute top favorite games. Now, I come from like the Harvest Moon days, and
Harvest Moon.
I think ultimately it's the best culmination of all of the mechanics of the previous Harvest Moon games, without all of the new stuff. that they like to sprinkle into the new ones.
Unfortunately, I haven't put a lot of time into Stardew, but Nick actually introduced it to me. He's like, "Hey, you want a thing? Let's put you on this." And I'm like, "Hey, this is really cool." But I'm also a mom, so it's like I don't have any time to just like sit and do nothing with my hands.
Yeah.
If I did, those are the kind of games I would play.
You're not doing nothing with your hands. You got Joy-Cons in them.
You?
Did I mention on stream yet how I lost Stardew?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Nick lost at Stardew.
He
You'll
didn't.
have to find out at Patreon.
He didn't. Anyways, so because I take umbrage with Nick's experience with Stardew. Sierra, real quick.
Yeah.
What games do you play and what platforms are you playing them on?
So again, single mom, so I don't get to play a whole lot. What I can say, like my go-to nostalgic games are Ocarina of Time, absolutely 100%, and then the original Halo. I am Sticky Grenade Cuisine. Also,
Fuzzy spiders.
there was a moment in time when I was doing nothing but consuming NOS and playing Call of Duty. So
that seems like a match made in heaven.
It does.
it's
real
insane
gamer fuel.
the amount of weight that you lose when you're just because NOS makes you not hungry. So it's like
That was not my experience.
Mine either.
for me, that it was literally it became the only thing that I was eating or drinking because it kept me so jacked I wasn't ever hungry. Yeah.
For me, it was like, man, I really need something to wash this down with. Let's do chips.
Yeah, I was washing it down with another one.
Oxide and search and destroy.
And then I was doing this.
We were gaming pretty good on the PS4 there until it shit the bed. We got cut off in the middle of what's the
really sad.
The two of us. What's the
two of us? The Last of Us?
No, we were playing the puzzle game. It takes two.
Yeah, it takes two. Yeah, that was fun.
So it got surprisingly hectic, and we got about halfway through the game before the PS4 shit
Dude,
the
that
bed.
game actually got really intense.
And yeah, I would like to finish that game because we were having a blast.
Yeah. I also got into some Sword Art Online, which was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed the show and was really sad when it was over. So Nick loves to provide things with content that is no longer available for me. Like, here's a book. Like, the show's over. Read the book.
Yeah.
Here's the game. Like, so it lives on.
Yep. But we've got a Switch at your place.
I do.
And probably we'll eventually have something else. But for now, like, we're one of the few kind of Switch households.
Yep. Tis the Switch home.
Soon it'll be time to switch it up.
I mean, you guys are always welcome to use all the glorious goods that I've got going on.
It's Andy's Glorious Goods instead of
It's
Gilmore.
literally
Andy's Glorious Goods Emporium.
Yep. Instead of Gilmore. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got. We
Andy's,
talked about how many screens I have. I have stuff plugged into all of them.
Yeah.
Andy's part Khajiit. He's got wares.
I've got wares.
Well, I mean, but
Well-
is he Gilmore?
Not with a Z. I'm not that kind of guy.
Not whereas.
I'm not. I'm not a 1999 virus. But I do have wares.
He does have wares.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Kona. I do have some other games that I thought were kind of nifty that kind of fall into the cozy niche. If you want a cute little game to do your due. Bear and Breakfast also looks freaking adorable. Essentially, you are a bear running a B&B in the forest. It looks freaking adorable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems just right. Like a kind of a Goldilocks position there.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because I do be rocking that, though. I'm giving Goldilocks and the Bears vibes today.
I feel like Goldilocks had a rough encounter with your bear suit.
I mean, yeah.
It's
She's into it, though.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
yeah, she's the consent. She's
I mean,
into it.
bears maul. Like, it's a thing they do.
Darth Maul?
So
Rats.
they wield red double-ended lightsabers and they kill deer
Absolutely.
and eat
But
garbage.
but they're not wasteful either.
No, they eat garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recyclers.
Bears
Might
are
be
great.
part bear.
No, you mentioned Bear and Breakfast just earlier. I just looked it up, and it looks fantastic.
Yes.
It's like if someone took the Don't Starve graphics and made them cute and happy, and then you're playing like The Sims, but instead of building a house for your like person you made, you're making a bed and breakfast run by a bear.
I just want to point out the dev is called Gummy Cat.
Yeah.
And their icon is adorable. It's a happy little cat, and
With
you
a
get to
butthole.
see his little starfish
Yep.
right there pointing
A
at you.
teeny little butthole.
Yeah.
It's
So Bear ampersand breakfast, because I had to Google it 3 times because
Nobody would knows what an
I
ampersand
kept
is.
hearing bear and
Yeah, I thought it was like
Bear.
a lack of breakfast. Barren breakfast.
I thought it was like a Lord
Bear.
of
The
breakfast.
tube of
And
trials.
breakfast.
You know, you're the count of eggs.
Exactly.
And you got to get fucking king waffles.
But yeah, no. Apparently, there's a really good demo out for it. So we should try it out. Find a way to.
There's a demo out for it now.
And then did you?
At least the review said
I do, yeah.
he had a very genuous demo.
Oh my God, that's
I don't know if that
adorable.
was reporter. What's
Look
the
it
word?
up, y'all. It's cute as fuck.
Review copy?
View copy only. So I'll look. At
I'll see if we can get a review copy.
if we can play it
Sick.
before next podcast. We will report on it.
Probably not before next podcast.
I would like
but I'll see
to
if we can
get in on that on account of I found it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was hoping if I could
did say
find the
we.
demo on the Switch, then you can play it and then you can tell us about it next
Hell
podcast.
Good.
yeah.
Something else though I won't be invited to. Fun.
Yep.
Oh, poor
True
Josh.
facts.
It's right there.
I have
added it.
I have Una Mas.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have Una Mas cute game for the lounging activities if you want to be cute and cozy and play the cute things, as a trans Russ would enjoy doing.
I think a regular Russ would enjoy doing.
That's a
Yeah,
fair
it's-
argument. Yeah.
Got to be tired of Path by now.
So the third one is called Mail Time, and it's a super cutesy cottagecore adventure game about delivering mail to
Cottagecore.
forest animal.
They made a cottagecore game?
Yes.
I thought
she
that was
did.
like a
a
Pinterest
Souls-like?
clothing.
The developer
genre.
is a 22-year-old girl.
Get it.
She
Fantastic.
is running her own company. This is her first game. She seems super into it. Just reading the facts on her website about it, but
Josh and or audience who's not familiar, do you know what cottagecore is?
Yes.
Okay, you do. Okay, audience that is not familiar with it. How would we describe it? It's like the opposite of emo. Like you always talk about running off to the forest to start a farm with a bunch of cute animals and escape from society. But like,
yeah.
this is actually doing that.
Yeah.
That's the whole genre of cottagecore is like you are what not Gary the Gnome. What was the gnome?
David the Gnome.
David the
David.
Gnome. David the Gnome was cottagecore before cottagecore was cottage.
Just
Yeah.
I feel like the real question is how long until this person starts making other people reveal secrets about themselves once they work there, you know?
Schisms within the Kickstarter behind the cottagecore game. Mail time.
Oh my
So
God.
this
it looks
one-
looks fucking adorable.
Yes,
Cute as fuck.
That's what I'm telling you. So they had an original goal on Kickstarter of $20,000, and she raised almost $50,000 with 1,500 backers.
You know what?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine being 22 and fucking pulling this off? Like,
No.
that makes me so happy. Like,
The only thing I could pull off when I was 22 was a
Your-
tipped
your
over porta
pants?
potty.
oh,
And
Josh
my
did not
pants.
pull up his pants.
I said pull off his pants.
Oh, got you.
Off, yeah.
Honestly, when I was 22, I can get them off real fast.
I bet.
Real fast.
Now, dude, the back aches a little bit. I get it. I get
no,
it.
it's-
Yeah, you kick them off more than
Also, I
anything
got too
nowadays.
much thigh for anything to come off of them
So
fast now.
let me give a little bit of meat on this. So just reading from her Kickstarter here. Mail Time is a delightful cottagecore adventure all about exploration, collecting hidden secrets, and delivering mail to the woodland creatures of Grumblewood.
That's a fantastic phrase.
Take on the role of a fresh on-the-job mail scout on track to complete your very first mail delivery. You've been tasked with a letter to Greg, but the only thing you know is that he lives somewhere in Grumblewood. Grove, glide, jump, and talk your way through the grove on the way to deliver the letter. All you have to do is figure out where exactly this Greg lives and hand him the letter. No big deal.
Greg.
I'm watching a GIF of the gameplay from Kickstarter, and you're just like a mushroom dude with a parasail made out of the letter.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Adorable.
This is.
Do you think he drinks Bailey's from an old shoe?
I'm old Greg.
I think he lives in an old shoe. He's so small.
Absolutely.
Look at he's just a little guy. He's just a tiny little guy doing his thing.
Absolutely adorable.
I love tiny little guys.
Absolutely.
Just when you see a tiny little guy doing their thing, you're
Yes.
like, look at that tiny little guy.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
Yes.
Do it, guy.
Word. Word.
Be tiny.
It's so good.
Keep on being little.
You keep being that little guy there.
Yep. All right. So we will keep an eye on those. Look out for a demo for Bed and Breakfast. See if we can play that on the
Bear
Switch.
and breakfast.
What did I say? Dead?
You said bed. Definitely said bed and breakfast.
Dude, Dead and Breakfast sounds like an
Dead and
awesome game,
breakfast.
too.
Hell yeah, it does.
Sequel
It
to
does.
Bear and Breakfast.
Yeah.
It's that you.
Surprise, the bear killed you.
Yep.
You've made the most successful
You now
bed and
haunt the
breakfast
bed and
of all
breakfast.
time, and now your job is to eat all of your patrons.
Okay. You're welcome. That's free reign. Have at it.
Thank you, Nick.
No copyright.
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
got to learn how to make video games
Open
now.
source.
Josh.
Yeah,
a
no.
little bit of
So
news.
I mean, that was a nice little palate cleanser after that first half.
After that first half? Oh, boy.
Whoa! Now I'm gonna be a little grumpy here because those some bitches at Rockstar they have found
Keep taking your goddamn money.
They found a new way, and goddamn it, it's a little bit enticing too. So GTA 5 Plus Premium Get Yourself Fucked edition.
Get fucked.
Is dropping. So they now offer a monthly subscription for GTA 5.
So what are you getting when you pay for
You
the
get
symbol?
fucked.
So
Besides sex.
So for it costs $6 a month. And every month that you are a part of the GTA 5 Plus, you will receive a cool $500,000 into your bank account.
Okay.
You will also get discounts on upgrades, clothes, and cars, as well as weapons, before the general public has access to them. And the one, and all that sounds pretty okay, right? Like,
But wait, there's more.
but wait, there's more. And the one that really, honestly, the one that gets me, that irritates me
Does
the
it get you,
most,
Josh?
It does. It pisses me the fuck off a little bit. Is if you are a member of GTA 5 Plus, you have access to expanded shark cards. So not only can you pay them $6 a month, but now you could pay them even more money to get a shark card that has more value in the game because you're paying them $6 a month. And it literally felt like my testicle fell into a
Let me
vice when I
break
read
this
this story
down
today.
so that my ulcer knows what's
Yes.
what. You pay $6 a month to have the right to buy a freemium in-game currency that is worth more because you are paying $6 a month.
That is correct. That is a correct breakdown.
Okay.
But no, you also get the other things. They will give you,
You get the other-
you get the other things.
The writers.
So you will get the $500,000 every month for free, and that's not a.
It's not for free. It's for $6.
Yeah.
It's for $6.
It's for $6. Thank you. Yeah. So you do get that as part of your bonuses, and then the bonus, like what car, like the car you get access to before everyone else does, and all that stuff is set
Sucker
to change.
GT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, last week I did a subscription review for Paradox and felt fairly positive of it. I feel less than positive about this, but that might just because Rockstar so often claps my cheeks and my wallet's cheeks. I will not be buying the subscription service, and it's only available on next gen PS and Xbox right now. Anyway, actually. Correct that. It will be available in June. It's not. No, it dropped yesterday. I lied
So
again.
They're going to find a way
All
to
the
bilk
lies.
you.
I lied
Scratch
again.
that. Scratch it again.
So it's only available on PlayStation and Xbox?
Yep. Yep. Right now, it's only on the PS5 and
Have yet
Xbox
to
Series
swindle
X.
the PC gamers
Schwinn.
anymore.
It's from
will
the,
not be swindled.
From the
They will not be
thing I was
swilled.
reading yesterday, and it dropped yesterday. I lied. It
Well,
does
by
not
next
drop in June.
podcast, we'll read some reviews and see how few people feel about their $500,000 and their swindle Chevy and whatever else
swint.
they get.
Get swinted.
Swant.
Swant.
And that's
what I
where I
swant.
was. That's where I was at on that one. So yeah, dude, I'm ready to lean into everybody's favorite new TV show.
I got a lot of fluids building up in my esophagus right now, thinking about what's going to happen next.
Think of the cute little mushroom man, Nick.
I'm
Center yourself.
I need to focus.
The little man. It's a little man doing his thing.
Am I opening here? with
You
this?
are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there's this little game series called Halo, and they've been trying to make a television show or a movie, some kind of visual form of media for the game since the dawn of time. It's been well over a decade since Halo came out, and there's been movie ideas and TV show ideas and back and forth. And in the current iteration, which is under Paramount Plus, which are two words together that make me feel bad, we have now been able to watch this new show that's finally come out. The one straight fact right off the bat that I've heard bantied about a few times is this first episode cost about $10 million. And the director or writer, EP, whoever it was, said it took over 200 script rewrites to get to where they are now. There's a lot of things I can forgive for video game adaptations from a video game to another form of media. I can forgive bad CGI. I can forgive corniness. I can forgive shout-outs or this, that, or the other thing. What I cannot forgive is one of the biggest video game series of all time overshadowing so many forms of media for decades, treating me like a child, straight out like Game of Thrones last season level insults to my intelligence that I'm just so frustrated. Like, I didn't expect a lot after hearing that the director, EP, whoever this, I feel like a bad journalist right now. Whoever the guy is who made the show said that they didn't consult the game's lore or canon or gameplay for the show. They went to 343 Studios, not Bungie, and took what they gave them and made up a plot. The main actor who plays Master Chief, the main character, said that he felt
Spoilers?
that it
Did
was
we spoil
time
earlier?
and very important for Master Chief to take off his helmet. All these little things, like we were talking about CG and inconsistencies and logic inconsistencies. The show really felt like Power Rangers to me. And I'm not a huge Halo fanboy, but what I am is a nerd. And I can recognize when a fandom gets absolutely bent over and folded like a towel and fucked behind a Denny's. Like, this is almost like the Avatar live action movie bad. Some of the action was cool. Some of the throwbacks and nods were cool. Like, in the sense that, you know, you're like, oh, that's a cool scene, but I'm standing in a sewage treatment facility. I was extremely disappointed. I don't want to give away too many spoilers until we get to that point.
Yeah, let's share our thoughts on it, and then we will get to spoiler territory. Make sure we don't spoil anything for this next part, and we'll issue a spoiler alert before we get into spoilers.
So general opinions you guys have on it?
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to say separate from if we remove that it's supposed to be a Halo show, if we were just to remove that completely.
So it's a generic sci-fi kind of show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally would watch it. I would say that it gave me lesser Star Wars vibes. The whole setup, the environment gave me that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was beautiful sans the CG. The CG was
I kind of hope I defined that. Like, had this not been Halo, I wouldn't be nearly as upset. But we've waited a long time for a Halo show.
Sure, and I can see coming going into it expecting Halo, loving Halo, wanting Halo, not getting that. But the nods that you were talking about, sorry, Josh, the nods that you were talking about, there was a couple things in there that hit, and I was like, damn, hell yeah, you know? But the CG was like a massive disappointment. There was, I think, one scene where it was actually fairly decent, and then one particular chunk of CG throughout the rest of the show that was like, okay, that's actual nowadays CG, you know?
So I feel, if I can weigh in for a second here, I feel like I made a pros and cons list, and I feel a lot of them overlapped. So the CG was both in my pros and my cons list. The elites were both in my pros and my cons list. So there's a lot of overlap there. So 343 Studios is heavily involved, and they are the current storytellers of Halo. So I feel like they are telling maybe not the Halo story that we're up in on, but they are telling a Halo story.
Yeah, I respect that they have the speaking torch right now
through through a different medium.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I faced something similar to this with Wheel of Time, and I'm looking at a sci-fi story being told with Halo flavor, right? Like, and that's what I honestly feel like if we go, and it's the first episode, guys. It's the first episode. So my biggest issue with it was the chain gun. Like I can get. Oh,
we're not getting into spoilers
sorry,
yet.
no spoilers.
General feelings on the show.
I feel like it was a little worse than I was expecting, and I was going into it with a pretty low bar. It was a little under that, but there's room for improvement, and I think it's going to get better.
Well, with that said, one thing I wanted to quote, I recently watched the Angry Joe Show review of Halo. Angry Joe is a pretty well-known YouTuber who reviews things. He got to watch the first 2 episodes, and they apologized profusely for the viewers, saying that, like, they even thought the first episode had its qualities, and it was decent. It had a lot of problems, but they said the second episode is so bad, they felt really bad for the people who had to wait a week for the next episode to come out, because it's so much worse than the first one. I was appalled at the first one. I can't imagine how the second one's
Maybe that
be.
means that you'll love the second one.
Yeah,
Who
maybe
knows?
it just flips around, null value. It doesn't buffer overflow. I don't know.
Because we're going to get into spoilers here in just a moment, I think my general feelings on it are, for me, it's kind of a nothing burger. At the end of the day, if I can separate the fact that it's a Halo show that's not based on Halo, I think it's an okay sci-fi. I mean, it's bare minimum sci-fi efforts. If you utilize most tropes in light sci-fi, it's pretty much got it here. I think some of the CG was absolutely fantastic. You have to remember there is a good mix of practical effects and CG in the show. Things like, non-spoiler here is there's like pelicans and airships. I think the CG was done really well on a lot of the set piece CG, but as far as anything that moves
Or wardrobe.
yeah,
The wardrobe was good too.
yeah. And their use of practical effects was really good too.
That's what I mean with the CG on those. Yeah.
But a lot of the sets are CG. Like if you're to take a lot of the set pieces in the second half of the show, most of that is CG, and I think a lot of that looks really good. That said, I think right now I'm just going to issue a spoiler alert. We are going to talk in depth about the first episode of Halo. So if you haven't watched it or you don't want it spoiled, now would be a good time to talk or to stop, because this is going to be the rest of the podcast.
It only goes down from here. We started at a low point and we continue to go down.
This is way better than sexual
We
assault.
definitely have some uplifting there. I brought you little tiny mushroom men.
Bear and Breakfast
And
makes
Bear
up
Breakfast.
for just about everything we've said.
And haunted chocolating.
I'm
So
excited.
you're welcome.
And mail time. Here's the mail. It never
Mail.
fails. It makes me want to wag my tail.
When it comes to
Spoilers!
everybody say something different.
Okay.
So let's break it down. Konahula in chat says it's like a Sci-Fi Channel level show. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's okay for casual watching. If you were looking for a good Halo show, it's not there.
I mean,
it's not that.
sci-fi up until recently brought us The Expanse. So,
Sure,
I mean,
They got so lucky on that.
Yeah, yep.
okay, well, I'm just
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, I'm just saying.
It's a good comparison, honestly.
But their basis for their content is already made,
But
which
it's
is the
like-
case in Halo as well, but they don't reference the content.
So there's a lot of Halo in the show. Like when he's taken there is, dude.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Halo feels in there.
When he's looking through the helmet, I love that.
When he's looking through the HUD,
Yep.
that felt like I was playing Halo for a second.
And it
He's
almost
taking-
changed. It almost changed the appearance of what he was looking at too.
Yep.
It looked like you were looking through the game.
Exactly.
That I appreciated.
When he's taking the fucking hits after one of the Spartans needs cover fire.
Yep.
And like his shield starts. Yep. And it's like, oh, hey, there it is. I heard the warp from the elite. There's a lot of Halo in there. Now the thing that really bugged me right off the bat is the rebels, right? They got all these shitty weapons. That's whatever. The Spartans drop in. They got Primo, Raytheon, knife missile weapons. They're ready to go. But at one point, Master Chief uses the exact same chain gun that the rebels ineffectively opened up on them with. And for me, that's the tough one. It's like, just make it so someone blows up that fucking truck before he has a chance to fire that chain gun. I mean, it's such an easy fix, and like, to me, it's almost that bothers me more than any of like deviation of the story or anything, because that to me is a fucking Starbucks cup. That's a Starbucks cup left out on the fucking set to me, but because it, just fix the fucking.
If we're talking about the chain gun scene, let's talk about the glorious gun throw.
Oh my god,
the assault rifle gun throw.
Yeah, but it didn't even. Oh.
It was unnecessary. It didn't even need to happen. They're like, hey, let's be shitty for a second and showcase how shitty it looks.
Well, I want to bring it up because I talk about it a lot, but I talk about it so the scene itself. While it does bother me that the Master Chief throws an assault rifle on the ground and it's rendered so poorly with such a high budget production, the thing that bothers me most about the CG is the absolute inconsistency. So sometimes the elites look great.
If there's one of them, they look amazing.
Not necessarily, because while he's going to town on the door that's got children behind it, looks like fucking hot garbage. To the point where like you get pixelated renders while he's moving. It's pretty bad. Then you get another scene with an elite by himself, and it's a close-up shot. Close-up shots are oftentimes the hardest thing to get right, but it looks good.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like there were probably too many studios working on the CG for this at one time.
And sometimes the CG felt different. It's weird that like now that you say that makes a little sense. It could be
absolutely. If you reference the explosion, the first explosion that hit, versus the ones that followed, it black and white, like completely different.
So so let's talk about visuals real quick. I think they did a really good job in the initial scene where the elites land and start mowing down effectively children, a few teenagers.
Yeah.
When they give these teenagers, they turn into plasma that flies to the ground, right?
That was dope.
It's really a lot more violent than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then my problem again is the inconsistency. Is oftentimes these elites are firing their plasma rifles at like a cinder block, okay? And the first few shots, they fly off in fucking plasma goo, right? And that's a cool effect, I think.
Yeah.
It's another way to separate. You have the UNSC arsenal versus the Covenant arsenal, right? And it also shows some like extra brutality. Whereas in other scenes, it literally has the same effect on the same object as ballistic weapons does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you just see some crumbs fly off of it because there's now essentially a bullet hole. So a lot of the problems that I have to deal with inconsistency in the quality of production, in the quality of line delivery, in the quality of acting between actors and actresses. Dr. Halsey is played by the woman that plays Karen in Californication.
I had to look that up today because I was like, man, I recognize her from somewhere.
She is such a good actor when she's delivering emotional lines, but she was just deadpan and garbage for the entirety of the first episode.
I thought
Poorly cast, I think.
I felt like it was a lackluster performance. And I was like, man, because once I looked her up, I was like, oh my god, it's the wife from Californication. It's like I thought she was really good in that, and like I did feel it was a little lackluster. I agree on that. I do agree with that take.
I want to hear more thoughts from Nick. I want you to pull this thing apart a little bit.
I'm trying to find a way to put this because I really don't want it to come across as like push the glasses up my nose, hoity-toity, disparaging. All of these things are valid that you're talking about. To me, you're debating the quality of the parasol while I'm worried about the storm. Mm-hmm. And the storm is that I was 14, 15 when Halo came out.
Yeah.
I had, at this point, read Ringworld by Larry Niven. I had an idea in my head of what that was. But Halo, to us, if I had to talk for us all as a group, was this really amazing military sci-fi like exploration of grand scale, is what it was. You see the Halo for the first time and you're like, holy shit.
You see the Pillar of Autumn in the first scene in Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Later you find out the Halo is literally just a weapon designed to stop something much more terrible. Like the level that blows a 14, 15-year-old's
I don't
mind,
think you have to issue a spoiler alert for the first Halo game.
I hate spoilers so much, so I'm throwing it out there. So to me, Halo is a story of scale, right? And I watched the first 17 minutes of this first episode, and I was so frustrated, I stopped and I started watching all of the ads for Halo 2 and Halo 3, the Belief campaign, the Neil Blomkamp stuff, and I just seethed. I seethed like an apoplectic rage at the opportunity lost for what Halo could have been. Like The Expanse is one of my favorite sci-fi shows, but it deals, especially in the first couple of seasons, in very small scale. And then it explodes in scale because you've been able to develop these characters in a character-driven drama. Halo is not necessarily a character-driven drama. It's you have the vessel of Master Chief and Cortana exploring this vast, expansive plot twist after plot twist of things that you can't comprehend. Like, I'm trying to picture what the general audience would watch Paramount Plus. Do any of them know what a fucking ring world is? Like, if they had led up in like a 3-episode arc to them discovering the Halo, how much that would have blown so many kids or teenagers' minds who've never played Halo who are young, right? Like, what is a Halo? It's a planet made by something as a ring. Like, somebody made a planet. Like, that's mind-blowing, right? So I went into this thinking, okay, I'm not going to get that. It opened with a heavy water mining planet, which heavy water is deuterium. It's a water. The planet's a fucking desert. Like, my little issues start immediately. Like, we didn't see a single drop of water in that whole thing. They show this big mining tower, and then they get alert. They're getting attacked, and they pull a lever to stop the mining tower like it's an issue. That never comes into play. The kids take this drug that they talk about, this planet. It's known for its deuterium and its drugs. The drugs never come into play. Like, all the little things like the CG and whatnot, those are irksome. But the story writing and the plot, this is such basic writing knowledge. They're just failing left and right. Nothing matters, right? Why are the elites attacking? They mined out this thing. They decide now of all times, after they mine to this weird artifact, to just randomly attack this base. Why are the people defending the base staying inside?
Well, so
like, there's so many things that have no relevance on the show.
Can I interject real quick here?
Sure.
Because what I'm gathering from you is they're not doing any kind of world development. Is a good portion of your
my issue is they chose such a non-Halo place to start from. We're not starting with Master Chief. We're not starting with the USNC. We're not starting with the Covenant. We're starting with a bunch of rebels from weird Halo book canon, maybe, that no one knows about. And they get attacked by 20 Covenants. It's not from Halo book canon, because it has nothing to do with the Halo story. Even worse.
In fairness, the Covenant shows up in the first 5 minutes.
The first Chekhov's gun, the first thing they set up is that, okay, these badass rebels have fought Marines, right? But you are nothing against a Spartan. Mm-hmm. First 3 minutes, we're setting up the Spartans are evil, and they're going to kill you, and you have no chance. So they show up and they do their thing. All CGI and chain gun issues aside, they're these, just forces of murder that come in and do this
unstoppable
stuff,
killing machines.
right?
Yeah.
And all we know is that the Master Chief is this impregnable robot of law and order and violence that is here to do the UNSC's will. And he is Halsey's pet, right? And then he touches a thing and he gets a memory of childhood. I don't care that in actual Halo canon they knew about their childhood, whatever. Here's the thing. Within the first episode, we go from the show trying to drill into us how important it is that Spartans are single-minded robots to him randomly deciding to defect against the entirety of the USNC for this single girl that he's willing to throw away everything. Like, you're trying to develop his character, and then he throws it away 20 minutes into the show. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me.
So the pacing as far as Master Chief's defection is a big issue for you, is what you're saying.
They've already ruined what little they set up for him, right? Other than, he's a good guy. We're supposed to root for the girl because her family died. We're supposed to root for Master Chief because he's the main character. And then at the end of it, he gets away because of a literal god in the machine, a Deus Ex Machina. He's showing up. They're saying that, they've got all these soldiers that are going to shoot the ship down. They've sent in all these planes. They've got the EMP gun that's going to shoot his ship down. But it's okay because he touched the artifact, and because the writers decided, it shut down all electronics so they could escape.
Yeah.
Like, what a cop-out. That's literally like, look up Deus Ex Machina online. It's a bad writing style that the author decides, I'm going to make up a reason for my main character to be able to get out of this situation that they had no control over.
Yeah.
And he literally touched the artifact, and because he's the chosen one, everything's okay now. He got away. Like, that's the first episode.
Well, in fairness, I feel like any human that would have touched that, it would have.
No, the storyline you're going to find out is that him and this chick that is in the Covenant, the blonde chick that's working with the aliens, they're chosen ones. They get to touch the artifacts and do special things.
So okay. So here's my theory on that. Spoiler alert for the books, I guess. So okay. So in the Fall of Reach, one of the which is supposed to be canon in it's the first Halo book. It's supposed to be canon in the Halo universe.
Okay.
Early on in the first battle with the Covenant, the first time they've ever appeared at all, Master Chief was sent to a planet to
quelling a rebellion thing.
To quell a rebellion, yeah. That's when the Covenant show up. So his new mission is supposed to be is to find out what the Covenant are after and what the fuck they are. Mm-hmm. He ends up following a couple of what he thinks are like high up Covenant. They're hunters. He doesn't know what they are at this point. And it looks like they're trying to take an artifact from a museum. Like, very pointedly, they're going after one thing only.
It's clearly important. Yeah.
It turns out to be the index for the first Halo.
Okay.
Taking the first index,
which is kind of what this artifact looked like a little bit.
It does.
In the first
it very much
episode
reminds me of
the original index.
Yeah. Like, maybe this is a shelf, like a casing for the index.
Yeah.
Because that's actually how they describe it in the books. It's like it ends up being opened. Now, about what Josh said about any human being able to potentially open it, I think the Covenant have a human. Now, in Halo, they refer to Master Chief as the Reclaimer. They also refer to Captain Keyes as the Reclaimer. The Reclaimer is the person that initiates the use of the index to activate the Halo ring. So the Reclaimer is just a human.
Here's the thing.
Real quick, any human that touches this, pending, like, let me finish my theory real quick.
Okay.
So pending my theory is correct in that this is the index to activate the first Halo, they are kind of following at least loosely, Halo canon.
If the Covenant in this new show lore raised a human in an effort to have a chosen one, that means that if any human could activate this index or be the chosen one, they wouldn't have bothered doing that, which is even worse because either that means that's a bad theory or that it's going to turn out in the show that any human is the chosen one, which is twice as bad considering they took the time to raise a secret human in the Covenant.
I hate this human that they have as the Covenant has.
Unnecessary.
It is, but But let me give you my thoughts on that. Is I think what they might be setting up is this is really early in the Human Covenant War. Like, most of the rebels don't even know that this is a real thing.
Legitimately, could you guys tell? Like, some point, it seemed like the USNC were aware of the Covenant. The rebels were not.
Yes.
So, like, this is clearly newish.
They talked
It's
about
really
it being
early.
propaganda.
Yeah,
talking about being propaganda.
mentions it being propaganda. So I feel like there has been engagement, sorties with the Covenant. And, like, the U.S. Marines were like, or the UNSC is like, hey, humanity, we got to band together, put down your shit.
And all the rebels don't believe them.
Right.
And the rebels don't believe them until...
Well, because they watched them come down and murder their families.
Yeah.
So
my theory here is that they didn't know of humanity. Like, maybe they accidentally stumbled upon this person and...
Well, they have this blonde chick. They clearly raised her.
Right. Yes. 100%. But maybe that's because, like, their only touch with the humanity has been her, or maybe her family. Who knows?
How they would have access
captured
to raise a child without already knowing about humanity.
They find a planet that had a thing,
or they found a ship out
Yeah, and they killed everybody, and they're like, "Oh
Maybe.
shit!"
I don't want to have to solve answers for the writers.
For sure. No, I get it, but we don't have those answers yet. So this is only what I'm theorizing. Yeah. These are just my thoughts and theories. So while I hate their use of a human, here's the thing: is while they know they need humanity in order to activate the rings, like that's a good part of their ploy. They literally kidnap Captain Keyes, in the first Halo, so he can be the one to activate the Covenant ring. That's how he ends up in the hands of the Flood and dies. Yeah. So,
I respect any Halo fanboy who appreciates how weird it is that the Covenant have a human. As not really a Halo fanboy, the idea kind of intrigued me. Like, I don't know non-game canon, so the idea that they have a human that they've kind of like sleeper cell agent, like raised propaganda to do the thing. I was like, okay, that's a neat tack to take, but why? They kind of leaned into. Let me finish one sentence. Again and again, we get comic book or video game stories that are written and people enjoy them the way they are, and then they get translated to different form of media, and the writers of the new thing decide to change it. Like X-Men's a great example of here's a million great storylines and they make up their own and shit the bed. Like, you don't have to change Halo. It's not a masterpiece. It's a video game. Just take it for what it is.
I'll give some thoughts on that shortly, but
Sierra was going to say something.
They kind of leaned into the curiosity of humanity in that scene with that girl. She was
that was my favorite scene of the whole show.
Yeah. She was reading the book and he kind of like called her out on like, hey, you're not human, you're one of us, but do you think you could teach me or read it to me?
He's clearly like speaking between the lines. And that was like the one good scene of the show. I was like, this is actually kind of interesting, you know, how this dynamic is playing out between this high prophet and this human.
Right. So can we lean into maybe the idea that it's just not Halo? Maybe it's a cool.
Then why bother?
Cash grab. Literally, it's somebody else's story that you put a Halo milieu on.
Yeah.
So
Angry Joe said it was like somebody was doing a cosplay in Halo's armor or something like that. It's like a great descriptor of this show.
Yeah.
Somebody
People
took
like
somebody
Halo
else's
flavor.
story.
Yeah, maybe they're hoping for the best of both worlds, right? We're going to apply this to the general sci-fi audience and add these cool little Halo tasties so that we can get all of the peoples.
Yeah.
Or like 343 is, like you said, holding the Halo torch now. This is their opportunity to tell a beginning story.
Yeah. They've also just ruined the franchise. So if this is what they want to do really, the first two Halo games were fucking masterfully done. Masterpieces of gaming.
Absolutely.
This is the first Halo show or movie we've gotten. The newest Halo has, up until the release of the episode, I don't know about now this week, but when the episode came out, absolutely zero ties to the show. There was no in-game anything related to the TV show for the newest Halo Infinite. Like, you know how long people have been waiting for a Halo show or movie, and you didn't do it. They'll tie in fucking Pop-Tarts and Rockstar. You know how many Master Chief Rockstar cans I've seen in 7-Eleven, but they can't do something for their mainline game? That was a symbol to me that even 343 was like, oh, shit. You know? I don't know. We'll watch episode 2 if we can hack it, and we'll see where it goes.
I'm just going to continue watching it until I can't stomach it anymore. So I want to go back. I want to touch on real quick. We're running out of time here, but I do want to touch on real quick what you were talking about earlier.
Which was?
Because I had thoughts on it.
I've been drinking a lot.
Why did they change it?
Oh, why?
Honestly, I would not want to watch the Halo TV show if all they did was go through the whole story of Halo.
You're not the audience for it. This is Paramount Plus. They're trying to get non-gamers to watch these things.
Yeah, and they could totally get non-gamers.
We got attracted in the first place. It was because it was this extremely large-scope sci-fi fantasy violence opera.
I mean, not just that, but it was also a really cool game.
Yeah, I mean, but now that it's not a game, what do they have to go off of? The story alone, right? There is no actor for Master Chief.
I'm not saying because
stand-in for you as a character.
You're taking me totally wrong. So I don't want. It's not that I don't want to watch it because I've already done it. It's because I do not think the story of Halo is good for the medium of TV or movies.
It's a pretty standard sci-fi story.
It is, but okay. So
done a million times.
if we were to take all of the events of Halo, other than just pure combat for the first 3 games, you could probably condense all of those scenes into about an hour.
I mean, it comes down to humans discover that aliens are real, and they don't know why the aliens are fighting them. It turns out the aliens need this thing that the humans didn't even comprehend, and now the humans have to find a way to save the day. Yeah. That's the story of most sci-fi shows. Like, there's nothing unique about Halo's storyline other than the way it was shown and provided to you as a game for the Xbox was fantastic. Like, you don't have to be novel to be good. Halo wasn't anything new, but it was special.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you also have to consider as a game, it was like the flagship title for the Xbox, and the graphics were mind-blowing at the time, and they had all this great multiplayer support, and that stuff can't tie into a TV show. Yeah. So that, you know, it just leaves me asking the question, like, if you're going to make a TV show out of Halo and you're going to take something from it, what are you going to take? What's left other than the theme and the genre and the story? If you fuck up the story and you throw it out and make up a new one, you're left with the theme and the genre. Why even bother making it Halo anymore? Just make it Space Marine the show. This guy has come to a planet to save this teenager. It would have been so much better because people wouldn't be expecting Halo. They're like, okay, this is like a B- B+ show.
I don't know.
Honestly, I feel like you're missing it on that. They're doing that. The flavor is Halo. There's Master Chief. He's in the Mjolnir armor. There's other fucking. I mean, the guns.
I don't think
like
throwing
Halo
in
weapons.
warts and first person perspectives for 3 minutes qualifies this as a Halo game. Like, I feel like those are like, gotcha. We did the thing that you were expecting. Oh, the alien said wart. You have to like the show now.
To be fair, I also thought I didn't get the feeling that I wasn't watching a Halo movie or a Halo show. I just kind of wished it wasn't.
Yeah. I hope it gets better. I never want these things to be bad. I just let's see that second episode and see where this goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it goes like crazy off into left field and gets like really interesting and weird.
It could get real good.
Yeah,
who knows?
Like, hopefully it just whoa, there it goes.
Well, does anybody have final thoughts? Anybody have anything that they're dying to throw in there?
Burning desires.
Yeah. I have burning desires. I've been edging all night.
Edge it.
No, I'm good. I got to rant.
I found it a little irritating that he took his helmet off in the first episode.
Agreed.
Well, and Nick, did you watch Orange is the New Black?
I saw about 60% of the first season and maybe a smattering of the other.
Remember Porn Stash?
Nope.
Oh, I'll have to find him. But the one of the only male characters in Orange is the New Black,
is that the character
this
for
guy.
Master Chief?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just weird. I honestly think
he's doing all right. It's just weird that I associate him as Porn Stash.
Yeah.
And every time I see him, like, oh, hey, Porn Stash is in this. That's cool.
What's cool though is how much better he looks
Without the porn stash?
just in general.
Doesn't look
Like
anything like he
it
does
was a
in
glow
Halo.
up. He has had a glow up for Halo.
Yeah, he
If
fucking
Halo
got
did
yoked.
anything good right, it's give
Made
this guy
him
a glow up.
look
Yeah.
non-creepy.
Hopefully, this is his breakout role, and he does really fucking well. And it's worth getting that fit for, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's worth doing that many steroids for.
I mean,
All the roids.
I get why the actor wants to have the helmet off. I get that.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, you land the role of Master Chief. You want that on your fucking credentials. You want to see it on the fucking screen. I get it. However, that
Halo is bigger than the actor that plays Master Chief.
Yes, and the dude
Should have been.
Yeah, should have been.
I'm fine with him taking off his helmet. He gets to do that.
See,
sure,
as soon as I heard that.
Once a season, and it needs to happen in like the second to the last episode.
Yeah, but episode 1 for the second half of the full episode.
I was
Yeah.
so surprised
Yeah.
when I heard the spoiler that the helmet comes off, and then I actually sat down and watched it. I was like, oh, when I saw it zoom in, I was like, what the? We get it in the first episode?
Yep.
Like what?
Like it should have. Like I would be fine with him taking the helmet off, and he talks to her for a moment, like, "Hey, I'm a fucking person," but all we see
The back of his
is
head.
the back of his
Absolutely.
head and her reaction,
Yeah.
and then he puts the helmet
Yeah.
back on, and hey Paramount, do you want to fucking pay me? I will give you a 30% better show right now. I got you.
I'm sorry, Josh. You do not fit in Mjolnir Mark 6 armor.
No. I just as a writer.
Which also,
just as a writer.
Yeah.
Also, if this is early Halo, he should not be in Mark 6. He should be in Mark 2 or Mark 3. Yeah. Just saying.
But it doesn't follow whatever. They're just remaking canon for the show. Yeah.
They do what they want.
Yep.
Anywho, we've run a little bit long. So, Sierra, thank you for joining us this week. You're going to be here. Me. Absolutely. It's been our pleasure. Mm-hmm. We're going to have you on more.
Yeah.
And in Russ's absence, we will have others on as well. I think we're going to have Justin on next week. We've had Justin on before. He was part of the Balcony Time podcast a couple times back before we were Video Game Tango. We're going to let him on next week. And we will have more guests, potentially even some Twitch streamers. I'm in the works and getting some people to help us remotely.
Hell
yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's go, boss man.
So it's going to get exciting.
Again, thank you, Sierra.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. It's been a pleasure.
You're all scholars and sages.
I say it every time, and I mean it every time.
Sages and mages.
We love you.